Hello there, my name is Kyle and I'm a certified clinical hypnotherapist and a master NLP practitioner. And in today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys some tips, some tricks, some strategies, and some insights and some techniques that you can use to help you manage your intrusive thoughts about health anxiety when they arise. So if that sounds good to you, then there's going to be a lot in this video for you. So I hope you enjoy. So without further ado, first off, what is health anxiety? So health anxiety, in essence, is feeling anxious about one's health. It could be being worried about being seriously ill, it could be worrying about underlying and deeper rooted fears. Anything around health that makes you feel anxious is what health anxiety is. So with that being said, what are intrusive thoughts in relation to health anxiety? Well, intrusive thoughts are those thoughts that you don't want to have, and the more that you try to not have them, the more they tend to come back. It feels like the brain is on repeat and it is stuck and it can't get these thoughts out of the mind. And that's why they're intrusive, because it's like they've overstayed their welcome, in other words. So that's what health anxiety is, and that's what intrusive thoughts are. Now, what I'm going to do is share some insights about the mind, and this can help you to gain a deeper understanding with your own thoughts and your own mind, and hopefully be able to create some more distance between the thoughts that you're having and the worrying feelings and the fears and the symptoms that you're having. So one of the things with the mind that, and this is something that I share with my clients, is that the mind does not know the difference between what is good and what is bad. It only knows what is happening in the present moment. Now, you might be asking, what do I mean by this? Like, how does the mind not know what's good and bad? It's like the mind only knows what is. So the mind, in other words, if you are thinking and having an intrusive thought about health anxieties, let's say for an example, you think that you're becoming seriously ill. I hope I'm not becoming seriously ill. I hope I'm not becoming seriously ill. All the mind recognizes is it doesn't hear the not. All it hears is I hope I'm becoming seriously ill, or all it hears is I'm seriously ill, seriously ill, seriously ill. It doesn't know the difference between good and bad. What is good and what is bad is actually decided by you, and without getting too much into it, you're not just your thoughts, right? The thoughts are a part of you. They're not who you are. And good and bad is decided before this. Hopefully this makes sense. So knowing this and knowing that the mind doesn't know the difference between good and bad, it only knows what is, we can use this to help to create some space between the intrusive thoughts and to gain some further understanding. So two more things about the mind, okay? So there's two things that the mind absolutely loves, and these are two of the biggest contributors to health anxiety and intrusive thoughts. So the first one is that the mind loves familiarity. Think about it, right? We have evolved over tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of years with our brains, and the way that the brain survives is it finds something to do, it picks a habit, it completes the habit, and then it repeats it. And this is how natural selection works, and we've got to the point where we are today, where we are humans as we are today. So that's one thing. The mind loves familiarity, okay? Bear this in mind. The second thing is that the mind absolutely loves closure. What do I mean by closure? Basically, if something completes itself. So if you have a particular pattern that you are playing out, the mind loves to complete this. Now, remember what I said earlier about the mind not knowing the difference between good and bad. The way the mind operates is it wants to find familiarity and it wants to find completion, okay? Unfortunately, for a lot of people, this is where health anxiety can come in and can take over, because the mind will seek out familiarity and closure more than what it will anything else. So although you may perceive health anxiety as a bad thing, your mind, from a evolutionary point of view, is actually doing its job. So how is this all relevant, I hear you asking? Well, knowing that the mind loves familiarity and that the mind loves closure We can actually use these two strategies to combat intrusive thoughts. Okay, so these are some of the techniques that I use with my clients and clients that I use with Heal Therapy, and I'm going to share them with you today. So, how do you interrupt something that is familiar? So, in other words, if you can interrupt the pattern and create something new that's familiar, it then stops it from being a pattern. It stops the wheels in its tracks. The brain stops and slows down and thinks, hold on, there's something else here now. And it has to consider that, right? And it gives you more degree and more control over having choice. So there's a technique that you can use. It's a CBT technique. And if you are having intrusive thoughts, all you need to do is write down the intrusive thought that you're having. And then there are 5 questions attached to this. So underneath your intrusive thought, you can ask yourself, is this true? Is this thought true? Is it absolutely true? Really be honest with yourself and really be conscious in this process. So is it true? Is it actually true? How does it make me feel? How does it make me act? Okay. So asking yourself those 4 questions hopefully will provide you with a bit more space, a bit more distance to away from the intrusive thought itself. And then the 5th question is take the complete opposite of the intrusive thoughts and then ask yourself, is that true? Okay. So in the context of this example, I can't remember the example I used, but let's just say, so I'm seriously ill. Okay. So we take it through that. Is it true? Maybe. Is it absolutely true? Well, maybe not. How does it make me feel? It makes me feel really scared and panicked. How does it make me act? I want to run away and I want to escape. Number 5, is it not absolutely true? Or is it not, I'm confusing myself. Am I not becoming seriously ill? Is that true? Really think about it. Really be conscious, really be analytical, really be factual about this. Chances are you will find something that is positive and something that feels a lot better to you and it feels like more of a relief. And hopefully this will create some more distance, as I said, between you and the intrusive thought. But more importantly, it has a new pattern now. There's something else that the mind can think about. And it gives you a new outing. So that next time you have that intrusive thought, what you've essentially done in this process is change the way that you relate to this intrusive thought. It's like when intrusive thoughts come through, the more that you think them, it's like a muscle. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. And thoughts are no different. The more you think it, the more easier it is and the quicker these things happen. It really concretes and cements in that pattern and that familiarity. But doing this enough times will break up the pattern enough, hopefully, to create some distance and to give you a certain degree of choice. So what I'll do is share a few more points, tips, and tricks that you can use to help you manage your intrusive thoughts about health anxiety. So here's another way to overcome intrusive thoughts about health anxiety. I share this with my clients and I'll share it with you now, and I call this the health anxiety cycle. So if you think about it a bit like a wheel on a bike or something like that, and there's three sections to this cycle. There's the thoughts, which is the health anxiety thoughts. So in this case, I'm becoming seriously ill. And then there are the feelings that are attached to that, which are the symptoms. So let's say, for instance, you're having a headache and you then, that's what's causing you to think that you're seriously ill. Okay, that's part of the cycle. And then the next part of the cycle is the fear that is underlying, and what is what gives the thought the power that it has. And what I mean by that is, if you were to have a thought about, oh, there's a butterfly flying past, it doesn't mean anything to you. But if you're worried about becoming seriously ill, it's usually because 9 times out of 10 that there is an underlying fear about either losing control, going to the doctors, being in pain, whatever it is. There's some kind of underlying fear, and that gives the thought power. And what happens here is once that cycle is in progress, it only gets stronger with time unless something's changed, unless you do something about it. Okay, so one of the ways that you can break that cycle and stop it at the thoughts part of the cycle, or even the feeling part and the symptom part, is to become curious about it. I know, guys, I get it. It's the last thing that you want to do. You don't want to sit there worrying, you don't want to sit there having to go into it, you just want it to go. But think of it like this. It's a bit like, it reminds me of the story of the monster under the bed story. You might have heard this when you was a kid. And it's worrying about that monster under the bed, right? You go to sleep and you can't sleep because you think there's a monster under the bed. You're not sure, don't want to look, you don't want it to eat you. And this goes on for months and months and months until one day you sum up the courage to look under the bed, only to realize that the only thing that was there was a teddy bear. Okay? So, and it's no different with health anxiety. All right? I get it. You don't want to lean into it. But trust me, sometimes the best way out is in. With that being said, so if you have symptoms that are linked to your intrusive thoughts with health anxiety, so if you've got a symptom, let's say you've got chest pain, you keep thinking, I'm going to have a heart attack, I'm going to have a heart attack, I'm having a heart attack, change what it means. If you think that you're having a heart attack because you've got chest pain, it's actually, think about it, it's actually a perfectly normal thing to panic, because the fight or flight response is there to protect you. It is a call to action. If you're dying, that's a call to action. Your body needs to react and it has all this energy. So instead of thinking that you're having a heart attack or you're dying, just change it. Just change it to something else. Change it to, oh, what if it's because I have heartburn? It's like, doesn't that seem so much more manageable? Like, oh, maybe it's because I went for a run yesterday and I'm a bit sore. You know, just something a lot more mellow. It's like the story you tell yourself, and going back to the thought earlier that the mind only knows what is. It's like the more you think about something, the more you're going to bring it into existence. So change the outcome, change your relationship with it. And you have the power to do this, guys. All you need to do is to decide to do this. And I get it, it's difficult. I've had health anxiety, but if you're truly struggling, you have these intrusive thoughts, highly suggest you try that out. So here's another strategy for dealing with intrusive thoughts about health anxiety. And I actually love this. One of the reasons why is because it's so effective, but it's so silly. So when I was talking about changing your relationship with the thoughts, it's like one of the ways that you can do this is to change your interpretation of it, change the way that you think about it, change the way that you feel about it. And you might be asking, well, Carl, how do I do that? Well, one of the ways that you can do that is to, let's say, for example, you're getting chest pain. I'm having a heart attack. That's the worrying thought, okay? Change the narrative. You can sing it to yourself. Turn it into a song. I'm having a heart attack. 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 Or maybe you could do this as like a military man, and you could, like a commander or a general or something like that, and to shout out, I'm having a heart attack. Just change, even me thinking about it makes me want to smile. Like, guys, use your imagination. You have the power to do this. Maybe you could say, I'm having a heart attack, but maybe you could close your eyes and listen to the Benny Hill music, or turn it to black and white. Like, anything that you can think of that makes you feel better about having that thought, do that. The reason why this works is because when there's a relationship between thoughts and feelings, right? And thoughts create feelings and feelings create thoughts. And when you have a thought that creates a feeling, in this case a symptom, the more you have that thought and the more you have the symptom, the more they glue themselves together like that. And the more that you practice this, the better you get at having this happen, at calling it up, at thinking the thought and having the feeling at the same time. So just break the habit, and just bring what you're doing in these moments is you're bringing awareness into the present moment. It's like there's a term for these intrusive thoughts. They're actually called ants. So you can call them ants, automatic negative thoughts. It says it in the title, they're automatic. So one of the things that you can do is to, and I get it, it's easier, it's sometimes it's easier said than done. And your instinct a lot of the time is to avoid fear, it's to avoid that kind of thing. But I promise you guys, if you bring consciousness and if you bring awareness into it, and if you change the narrative to it, I guarantee if you keep doing that, you will have results. It has to happen. There is no other way around it. Think about it like this. It happened. You got so good at doing health anxiety by being anxious all the time. So if you can think your way into health anxiety, you can think your way out of health anxiety. Think about it like that. So there you go, guys. There are some tips, tricks, strategies, and techniques and insights that you can use to help you overcome your intrusive thoughts about health anxiety. I highly encourage you to try these techniques and strategies, and do let me know in the comments below, or maybe even on one of my socials, about how you get on. And I'd just like to mention, whilst we're here, I actually work with clients with health anxiety. So perhaps it's a bit deeper than the thoughts, or perhaps there's a few more layers to it, and you want to work with a therapist and to completely blow your health anxiety out the window in 1 sessions or 2 sessions, then get in touch with me. I'm currently taking on clients, and I offer a free complimentary consultation call where we can discuss a tailored solution to your health anxiety. You can get tips or an analysis from a health anxiety specialist, and you can also get some relief just from experiencing that call. So if that sounds like something that you're interested in, there'll be a link below. You can book in a call. Otherwise, I hope you found some value from this video, and I hope you have a great day or a great evening wherever you are. Take care.